different plants, different voices, and different ways of having conversations. It's time to get personal with plant medicine. Welcome to Getting Personal with Plant Medicine. I'm your host, Diana, and today I am joined yet again by Christopher Deeney, the man behind the brand, behind the podcast, Christopher's Organic Botanicals. How are you doing today, Christopher?
Good, doing well, trying to stay cool. It's like 105 heat index up here, so.
I know. And I had to turn the AC off to record, so I will probably be sweltering in a few minutes.
It's rough.
But hey, it's all a price to pay for better audio for our listeners. Anyway, I don't mind paying the price is what I'm saying.
I'm quiet over here too, so I have it off as well.
We'll just be sweltering in a few minutes. I'm good right now. I still have a little bit of the chill left over.
There's something going on, yeah.
So anyway, I know that you're always so busy working tirelessly to make sure that Kratom is accessible to everyone. And a lot of that requires you to go to DC, right? Or not just DC, you go to a lot of different places and you testify often, is what I was trying to say. So recently, though, you came to DC. Can you talk about the reason behind that visit?
Sure. The American Kratom Association had their fly-in day last week, and then the following day was congressional briefing. But 3 weeks prior to that, I was also in DC for the Natural Products Association fly-in day. Last year, we became members of the Natural Products Association as well, led by Daniel Fabricant, where a lot of people in the industry remember he was not a big fan of Kratom back during the Leaf of Faith days and other times. And he is not anti-Kratom anymore. I want a lot of people to know that. He's definitely not anti-Kratom. And when we talk about Kratom, I mean the leaf, the tea, the powder. I like to just put that out there. That's what we're talking about. There's a lot of other formulations out there that, are they're up and down. And, as long as I've nothing against extracts, people ask me, as long as they're formulated properly, but there's a lot of unformulated proper extracts in the market. So anyway.
So what are fly-in days? Yeah. What are fly-in days for people who don't know?
Sure. Fly-in days is a day of advocacy. So whether it's with the Natural Products Association or the American Kratom Association, it is when advocates get together and you will go and meet with your local reps, your state reps, and explain to them different bills or different things that you're working on. For the Natural Products Association, there's a few different things. One of the main one was the mandatory product listings for all dietary supplements. They wanted to have a mandatory database, which on paper sounds great. Mandatory database, they can look on, make sure labels are correct. But in the meantime, the FDA could approve what supplements get put on the market, where they can make manufacturers wait up to 16 months or 18 months for an approval, which would really hurt the dietary supplement industry. As long as, everything's being done GMP, proper labeling, proper manufacturing, just like with Kratom products, that's what we mimic. The 21 CFR 111 for GMP for dietary supplements. That's what the dietary supplement industry promotes. They just want proper labeling, proper packaging. And there's certain bills being pushed that would really kill the dietary supplement industry. So that was with the Natural Products Association. For the American Kratom Association, they were pushing the Federal Kratom Consumer Protection Act. So it was being brought up again. This was filed a couple of years ago, and there hasn't been much movement. So it's basically, it mirrors most of the Kratom Consumer Protection Acts passed in, I think it's 21 states right now. So it just mirrors that, but it's a federal Kratom Consumer Protection Act. So It's just asking the government to move so the states have some kind of a guidance.
I see.
But, it's just for that reason. It's for advocacy. It's to get the word out, and it's to show your face. Because when you show up in person, that's what really, really impresses them. When you're in front of their face, explaining to them and having knowledge of a bill that's affecting you, they want to hear from their local constituents. They want to hear from people who this affects in their community. And it's the best when you show up and you talk to them. It means a lot.
That's good to hear because sometimes I feel discouraged about putting. I don't get to do the face to face, but hopefully someday I will be able to. But I do the calls and things like that. And I sometimes wonder, I know they have to record them. I know that.
Yeah.
So do you have
emails and phone calls? Emails and
Yeah.
phone calls matter too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when you're showing up there and you either create a meeting or you just show up cold call, you can just go to the offices in Washington, D.C. and just show up at your state rep's office and hand them a packet, hand them your story. When they see people are showing up at their offices, they're like, whoa, what's going on here? People are showing up, not just calling, not just emailing. So when everybody's involved, they're getting emails, they're getting phone calls, they're getting people showing up at their offices. They're like, wait a minute, what's going on? We got to look at this. It just makes it more in their face. That's all.
I guess I should say most politicians, not all though, because we have here in Maryland, we have a representative who dodges people. Like it's a running joke, but it's not really funny because he's an idiot. But anyway, people.
I was at Maryland with you remember Kratom guy's show, Mike Overstreet?
That sounds familiar.
He was big into advocacy back then. I remember showing up with him. He had some health problems and stuff, but I remember showing up with him in Maryland, and we were there with a bunch of people telling our story, and I believe Adam was there. It was great. It was a great day.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
That was like 2020 though. So, yep.
That is really cool. I think there is something so empowering about that, right? So it's exciting to do that work. It's also exhausting, and it's complicated too because there are different approaches, and no matter what the field is, right? We always have
and it's hard. It is. It's very difficult. Like a lot of people in the chronic pain community or advocacy community have health problems. So for me, there's a lot of years I couldn't show up, whether it was my own health problems, taking care of my mother full time. I just had vascular surgery, 2 major surgeries since the beginning of the year. So it's a 2-3 hour drive sometimes each way. I had to drive up to Suffolk a couple months ago. That was a 3.5 hour ride each way.
Wow.
So it takes a lot, it takes a toll doing it. But I feel like it's something I need to do. It's like it has to be told.
Yeah, and I imagine it also impacts you on a personal level as well. Like I'm sure it's a little trying for your family and those around you. And the fact that you own a business, that also makes it difficult.
Constant.
Yeah.
It's constant. It's we all love Kratom. We all use Kratom, but sometimes we're like, oh my God, can we just not hear the word Kratom for 5 minutes? Because there's been no personal time for anything over the last 8 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
This really started, we started in 2016. By 2018, the first 2 years was a battle. And then it kind of got all right for a little while. And then we had another battle. And the battle never stopped. And it was always seems to be around products that are adulterated or products that are not made right or something. It's never the natural Kratom. It's never somebody saying, oh yeah, this tea caused me such a problem. And you know what I mean? And a lot of times people are making up stories anyway. So you don't know what to believe. You see Reddit, obviously. Sometimes they're very, very
reactionary.
Yeah. And there's a lot of there's other things going on too. So we got to hear the whole story.
Right.
So,
and our attention spans are even shorter than gnats at this point with everything. We have so many different information sources being thrown at us every day. And we have so much media, overwhelming us that I can understand being reactionary to a headline, but also it is harder to understand having a whole stance on something that you don't even really know anything about. Like,
correct.
Do a little bit of research before you start a platform.
I have no idea.
A political platform at that, because it's one of the easiest campaign low-hanging fruits.
I see it all the time. People have no idea about Kratom, but they hear the word Kratom and they're like, oh yeah, catchy headline. They start making up headlines and posts and stuff just because they have a big name or whatever, and they have no clue what they're even talking about. People like you or me could school them in a heartbeat, and they don't listen to us because we don't have that celebrity, or we don't have those letters after our name, or whatever it might be. But that doesn't matter. That is just like I told people. It's like saying age matters. Age doesn't mean anything. It's about how much knowledge you have up here.
Mm-hmm.
Age doesn't mean anything. I'm sure I can meet a 21-year-old that'll blow me out of the water.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure I could. So, age doesn't mean anything. It's all about experience, education, and knowledge. That's it.
Yeah, and wanting to continue to learn, shut that
Correct.
down, and then what is the
The
point?
biggest thing, somebody told me years ago, the biggest mistake you can ever make in life is thinking you've arrived.
Yeah.
When you think you've arrived, that's the biggest mistake you can make.
Mm-hmm. Or that you
So,
don't need to learn anything new.
correct. There's always something new to learn, especially with Kratom. We're learning. When I first started this, there was 30 plus alkaloids. Now there's
Yeah.
52 plus alkaloids. What are we going to have in 5 years?
Wow. And side
So,
note, your website lists all of them, which I find extremely impressive. And I printed them out for the kava bar because I think it's something that
oh,
people should
cool.
have knowledge of. And, it's something that we'll definitely get into a little bit later this season, I'm sure. But back
Yep.
to the advocacy part of it, like what, in your opinion, what can Kratom advocates do to help the greater good? And we just spoke about how people have their own personal opinions and things like that, and bringing that into the mix can make things messy at times, right?
Yeah, yeah,
To say the
yeah.
least.
I know what you mean.
But
Um,
what do you suggest people do to kind of focus on the bigger picture?
I mean, there's so much noise and so much stuff out there, and it's hard sometimes to stay focused. And even for me to, stay focused. My thing is, I mean, we have to lead with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Not make any miracle claims that Kratom's perfect, that can never do anything wrong. Like there's people that could have medical conditions that could have a problem with Kratom. So it can't be it's all this or all that. It's not
Mm-hmm.
all the great and it's not all bad. You know, we just have to be calm and credible, just be honest,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, just separate the freaking products that are causing a problem from the natural leaf.
Right.
Make that conversation honest. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, are there products in the market that call themselves Kratom that cause problems? Yes, but they're not Kratom. That's not what real traditional Kratom is.
Mm-mm.
So let's look at that first. Some people have said, even I don't want to quote people and whatever, but Christopher McCurdy said on a few occasions, he believes that, the Kratom leaf, the powder, the tea, that's the closest to the way they used it traditionally in Southeast Asia. My beliefs are in plant medicine. My beliefs aren't in product development and everything else, like a lot of other people would be in the industry. And that doesn't mean that I'm against it. It just means that God got it right the first time. I want to find the best quality natural Kratom that I can find to offer to people. I don't want to create all these other products out of it and then have people not understand the plant. The plant's hard to understand to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Just using a cup of tea to get it right. I know that from experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure, do I use a teaspoon? Do I use a tablespoon?
Lemon.
How much? Yeah, lemon. Depends on what time I ate during the day. How much metrogenine is in the Kratom? When I take 5 grams of Kratom, how much metrogenine is that compared? Well, it changes. It varies. Oh my God, it varies. How the hell am I always, So these are all the things that we've tried to focus on over the years in our product descriptions to explain to people the alkaloids, what's in the Kratom, how much, like over the years, it was always said, oh, there's about 10 to 12 milligrams of metrogenine in a gram of Kratom powder. That is so freaking vague. It doesn't even matter. I have a green Mangda on our website right now. That's 1.56 mit. All right. That is 15, almost 16 milligrams of mit per gram. Because that's how you would do it. If it's 1.5, it's 15 milligrams. If it's 1% metrogenine, it'd be 10 milligrams. So if it's 1.5, it'd be 15 milligrams. You just move the decimal point over. So, it's trying to explain to people what they're taking.
Mm-hmm.
Why when I take a 1%, I feel different than a 1.5. How come if I take 2 tablespoons of 1.5, I get nauseous and tired? It's just understanding the plant. And that's why
and having
I've always
patience
wanted to,
too. And like you said,
having
it's
patience
it's
with
a
it.
really important blend of transparency and patience
Yes.
because you can't just say, oh, this leaf can cure everything because that's not true.
No.
And you can't say that about any leaf, I mean,
Nope.
sure, there are some that do seem like a panacea if you want it to be, but you have to be honest about the approach, the
Kratom is one of
application,
those.
right? And it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, kratom is one of those plants, but
right. And how
as
many
you're saying,
people have we both heard tell us they've had one bad experience and that was it for with all the leaves, all the leafy
yep,
products, right? Like
yep,
I've heard that about
correct.
cannabis, I've heard that about kratom, I've heard that about a lot of other types of plant medicine. They have one bad experience and that's it. And you really can't give up on the one bad experience, because if you were taking something over the counter, something pharmaceutical, you could still have a really bad experience the one time, and then, your body adjusts or whatever it is, and it works after a little while. You have to
Correct.
be willing to do the trial and error in order, and a lot of people don't have that patience or want to know more about it,
No, they
unfortunately.
don't. People, I guess as a society, we're also used to just, the doctor prescribes a pill, you take a pill, then you go and you don't have to worry about it. With any plant medicine, it's trial and error. It's understanding the plant. It's figuring out what works with your body chemistry. So that's the part of learning. That's why I tell people, do not ever jump into extracts when you start kratom. Get the powder. I know it tastes like crap. Get the powder. Try it. Try with, I say about 2 grams, which is, roughly a flat level teaspoon, might be 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
But with a flat level teaspoon, that gives you an idea of between 2 and 3 grams. So that might be anywhere between 30 and 40 milligrams of metrogenine, depending on what kind of kratom you're trying. I think that's a good starter. I think that's good. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but we're learning more.
Yeah.
We know that up to 12 grams of kratom is fine. It was the only negative reaction we had during the dose finding study was some nausea, and there was some dizziness, a little bit of, so that's way too much, I think, in my opinion. So if you start somebody off with,
been there,
yeah, you know what I mean? You don't want to put, like somebody questioned me the other day, well, why do you have on your bag, do not drive or operate heavy machinery until you become familiar with its effects? I said, because I know I'm going to have somebody who tries to take 2 tablespoons in a cup and then try to hop in a car and go somewhere. I don't want people doing that. I want to reduce the risk of everything. You know what I mean? When we're talking about kratom. So when I tell somebody start with a teaspoon, that's not really even a safety thing. That's just, I don't want you overdoing it and then having a bad experience. Like over the years, we've had people that'll go and buy the shots or buy some of the other extracts and they're just too strong for them. And they try them and they have a negative experience. Like, oh man, that kratom was crap, blah, blah, blah. And they write it off. That's it. And when the kratom could have really helped them with a certain problem.
Well, it's funny you bring up the dosing, because I have a friend who I had try it, and she's the type of person that always takes less than is recommended. And I keep trying to tell her, I mean, I am a proponent of the, start slow and go slow. However, you also have to think about taking too little might not be you might not be able to even measure anything if you're taking too small of an amount. Like I spoke to a doctor, I think it was actually a pediatrician for my son, who said, if you don't take the recommended dosage of, like, say Tylenol or something like that, then you're not doing anything except for like unnecessarily damaging your liver, because if you don't take that, at least that recommended amount, then your body basically doesn't like register it in the same way.
It's not a therapeutic level or whatever, a therapeutic amount.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. Just like I used to hear people recommend 1 gram of kratom or half a gram of kratom. I said, dude, they're not even going to notice it probably and get annoyed. Said, so 2 grams, roughly 30 milligrams of metrogenine, anywhere between 20 and 30. That's a good starter. You're going to notice a little bit of maybe energy boost, maybe a little mood boost. You might be like, oh, okay, that's what this is about. And then you can learn, oh, maybe I want to try 2 teaspoons. Maybe that'll help me, and I take higher amounts. I use it for relief. So I use a tablespoon. That's 3 teaspoons at one shot, which is about 5 grams, 6 grams, depending on the time.
Yeah.
And I really don't get an energy boost from kratom. The only time I get an energy boost from kratom is if I add a little extract to the powder I'm taking. And that's the only way I use extracts. I never use extract standalone. I don't believe that now, for me personally, they do what I'm looking for. So, I'd rather have the powder. I wish there was a way to make the powder into a more portable way of
Mm-hmm.
taking it on the go. I know there's a couple companies that are making press tablets that are the powder, but now tablets are getting a bad name because of 7OH. Everybody thinks every tablet's 7OH. I'm like, I can't win.
Yeah, so
So I'm
speaking
trying
of
to
that,
differentiate and explain to people,
yeah.
what the hell's going on. But
So to that vein, in that vein, I should say, I know you hear from people all the time who live in areas where kratom accessibility is constantly under threat, and also from those who live in places where it's already banned. So
yeah.
what do you tell those advocates who feel hopeless about the future of kratom? Because I know it's really difficult when you live in those areas to.
I've just dealt with this 2 states over the last year, Louisiana and Connecticut, and
Mhm.
I had a lot of customers there, a lot, and obviously I had to tell them we can't ship there anymore. I'm very sorry. A few of them I know moved out of state. A few of them just said screw it and moved there. It was almost like the what were they called? The cannabis refugees. Everybody moved to
Oh,
Colorado back in
right,
the
right.
day.
Yeah. Hmm.
It was like that. They were like, well, this plant's working for me. I'm moving to a different state. I don't care. And so they did that. But other ones just really felt hopeless, like you said.
Hmm.
There was somebody in our community. He ruffled a lot of feathers, but that's okay. He was a funny guy. I've had communication with him a few times. His name's Scott Ruby.
Hmm.
And he'd go under the handle. What was his handle? It was funny. King of Precious Stones
Mm.
on TikTok and everything. We still don't know what happened, but either he committed suicide or he was a chronic pain patient, and
Oh.
for we don't know what happened, but something had happened with him that had to do with the band state or something like that. And it's people feel hopeless. Like a lot of people are in positions to where if they don't have kratom, their life is gone, their life is over. Like that, they feel that bad. And I try to tell people, listen, it's okay. We sent free products to people all over the place before the bans went in place. Here, I call it expired kratom. We have bags that like just the best by date. And I said, it's still good. Trust me. I've used expired kratom since 2018. It's fine. So we just send care packages out here. I don't want people to be, scared that they're going to run out. But at some point, it does run out. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I would say there's probably at least 50-60% of those people are still using kratom.
Mm.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
They're probably going out of state.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going out of state. There's still nothing that can really stop people from ordering directly from Indonesia if they wanted to, if they can find somebody and get it through and pay somebody and whatever. I wouldn't try that in a banned state. You're out of your damn mind. But I'm sure there's other vendors that'll ship to banned states and, do what they got to do. I will not ever. It's not worth it. And I'm not screwing around. Even from Connecticut, before the ban went in place, 3 days before the ban went in place, I got an email from the Attorney General of Connecticut said he's watching me. Do not ship any product into our state. That was it.
Wow.
I can share the letter with you. It's
Wow.
insane. I was like, whoa, buddy. You know what I mean? I said, first off, I emailed him back. I said, first off, we don't break the law. We're a small family-run business. I don't even know how the hell you knew about me, probably from the AK website or whatever. And I said, we think this is completely ridiculous anyway. I said, we sell plain leaf kratom powder. This is tea. You're banning tea, making tea a Schedule 1. So think about that. So I don't know. Maybe he looked at it, maybe he didn't, but especially not knowing that somebody's, they're watching. That's what I'm trying to tell people as vendors. Or if they ever wanted to get a warrant, look at your shipping program, look at your website, look at everything, pull up all your data. They can see, oh, you think it's cute to ship to a bunch of banned states. Guess what? Every one of them's a freaking felony. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm good. Not worth it to me.
So if people cross, is there an issue with like interstate, I'm sure there is. If you go into the next state over and you get caught bringing it into your state.
Just like, what do you call it? Shana Brown's from Florida. She was like over the border, like 500 feet into Alabama when she got pulled over. She got charged with a Schedule 1. And she actually is still facing charges 3 years later. And they had $1 million bail on her for a 9-ounce bag of powder.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the type of crap. And then you had Marshall Price. Marshall Price was in Arkansas, purchased it legally. I forget what state, Missouri, whatever. And had it in his possession in Arkansas, got pulled over, got, I think it was 10 or 20 years in prison, didn't even make it the first couple of weeks. And still a mystery. They don't know what happened. He got killed in jail.
Oh my God.
So his daughter was in front of the Congress a couple of years ago. I met them. Great great person. I feel so horrible for them. And this is all over frickin' Kratom. Like, it's over tea. You know, this isn't even like they had a whole bunch of pills or a whole bunch. Like, they couldn't even make it sound good. You know what I mean? It's tea. You can't even. How are you going to put a twist on that for somebody having tea?
Yeah, they'll just say
somebody
substance.
else. Yeah, years ago, somebody got pulled over, had a bunch of moringa on them. They thought it was Kratom, had him in county jail for 8 months until they tested the product, realized it was moringa.
Oh my God!
Like, we're jailing people for really a bunch of dumb stuff.
Well, I firmly believe that the war on drugs is still going on, not just going on, but it's been like magnified in a new way.
Yeah, I agree. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean? It's basically at this point with fentanyl and all the other stuff on the street, the war on drugs, the drugs won. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. Drugs won because you know they're reporting more new stuff coming out that's 20 times stronger than this and 20 times stronger than fentanyl, and it's never going to stop. So
yeah, and anyway, yeah, they're wasting their time going after natural leaf kratom and cannabis, and
definitely wasting their time.
But you know,
look how long it took. It was 1937 when they banned cannabis. It took until this past year for them to look at it, even make cannabis Schedule 3 for medical.
Which is really not even.
No, still that's not even a attaboy. That's whatever.
Yeah.
That has to do with banking, I think. It's more money than anything.
Yeah. It's for the people who are doing the only people who are making profits in that industry. It's really that's who it's going to benefit.
It helps research. That's about it too. Helps a little research,
but then it's just going to make it easier for the pharmaceutical company to take over, which is what they're trying to do. So, you know, yay, progress.
You don't know what to. It's horrible nowadays. You hear so many different angles from so many people. You don't know what to believe, trust, think. You know, I just follow my heart with it, man. You know, and that's all I can do. There's so much noise from so many different places, so many different organizations. You know, I know damn well Kratom saved my life. I've had thousands of people come through it. It saved them and it gave them a better quality of life. And I'm just sticking to what I know, and everybody else can fight. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be the one to cause any problems. I'm trying to do the right thing.
No,
and I'll never give Kratom a bad name. So,
no, you won't.
That's it.
So before we end, how can people who are able to go and testify in front of in Congress, like, where do they even begin? Because I know you've done it. I know you're a seasoned expert when it comes to these things. So how did you start? Yeah, but how did you begin with that? What are some tips?
I honestly knew very little about politics. My parents were into politics a lot when I was a kid. I listened to them, but just listening to different things from them talking about local bills. And so I was never involved. I got involved more locally. I started following what was going on in my own area. Keep my ear to, see what was going on, watched it. And then when I joined the AKA, it was like, all right, they started doing a lot more of this politics. So I started learning more in 2016, 17, watching everything. And anybody can really do it. I say the most important thing is start locally. You don't have to make an appointment with your rep in Washington, D.C. and go out there and sit down. Well, you can. That's great. But start locally. Like just the other day, I went over to we have a new regime over here in Salem County, new elections a couple of years ago, and we have new assemblymen and women. And so I went the other day, sat down and talked with the aide about Kratom, the Kratom Consumer Protection Act, just to remind them, hey, we're here, and our legislative offices are only 5 minutes down the road. So I called them, said, hey, you mind if I come by? Oh, yeah, come on by. So I sat down, gave them some information. It was a 20-minute talk. That's it, very casual. But I handed them a packet. I handed them a packet of information, the bills, my story, and said, hey, I'm here as a resource. If you guys need anything, please reach out to me, and I'll be more than willing to help. The reason I've been doing that over the last 8 years is because when you hear Kratom pop up, or they hear Kratom pop up, they're automatically going to know, wait a minute, that's not what Kratom is. The guy came over and showed me what Kratom was, because I bring over samples. I drop off samples, everything. And we're part of the Chamber of Commerce. So that gave me another leg in to go to a lot of these meetings to speak with our elected officials. So our original elected official down here was Jeff Van Drew. He was our local congressman, very well known. I kept talking to him, showed him Kratom, saw him at the county fair, saw him at our legislative meetings. For a while, he'd see me and go, hey, Kratom guy. You know what I mean? He recently left, and now he's the U.S. congressman in D.C.
Oh, wow.
So we had meetings with him scheduled with the Natural Products Association a couple of weeks ago. We had to have the meeting rescheduled. Something had happened on its schedule. But he already knows who I am. He already knows Kratom. So that's my point. By putting those little seeds and, sowing those little seeds early, they know your story. They know Kratom's not a bad thing. And just anybody can start with their local area. See who your local district is. See who your reps are. See who your local congressman is. Give them a call. Hey, my name is, blah, 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 and I'm a Kratom consumer, and Kratom's done this for me, and send them an email, follow up, show up. If they want you to show up at their local offices, say, hey, I can always stop by and, show you some information and show you what Kratom really is. It's just starting just like that. Don't be nervous. It's nerve wracking. It really is, speaking in front of anybody. Mm-hmm. And, public speaking is probably the worst thing for anyone. So the public speaking kind of like very nerve wracking, but just going to your local offices and just telling them your story.
Yeah.
Just start there. That's it.
That's great. And also there, wherever there are proposed bans right now, you can usually submit your own testimony online, correct?
Yes.
So are there any, I'm saying correct, I've done it, but which ones should we pay attention to right now? What has the most urgency that people can comment on?
There's so many of them right now. It's totally insane. There's a lot of local bans. We have California right now with another thing going on. We have, what else was it? California and Georgia. Georgia's having a meeting, I think, tomorrow. So any of the people in Georgia, I sent out emails to all of our customers about the Georgia hearing meeting. It's just discussing Kratom. It's not a ban or anything, but they're discussing it. And if advocates can show up in Georgia and tell their story during this meeting, then they could kind of maybe put the kibosh on that right away before it goes to the next step. So that it's just being, and they want to hear from it. Yeah, I'm from Jersey. If I drove down to Georgia and stayed there and talked, that's great. But they really want to hear from people that are in that state. They want to hear from people that are local, yes, their own constituents. They want to hear from these people because that's what matters to them. I've showed up in Zoom meetings for a lot of different hearings in Massachusetts. They listen to me. I had somebody come back and forth and really have a good conversation, and it was good. But most of them, when they ask me, like, where are you from? I'm just like, New Jersey, and they're like, oh, why do you care about this meeting, of a local town? I'm like, well, I'm a, Kratom consumer, and I just want, I have family up in the area. I made up something. And, I just want you to know my story that Kratom isn't a bad thing. It's just, oh, okay. You know what I mean? But right away, when they hear people out of state are concerned with their local meetings, their antennas go up. And it's like, well, why are you contacting us? You know what I mean? So I don't want it to ever feel like it's an organized thing where everybody's trying to show up to tell their story. I want it just to be natural. Just, tell your story. So you can look on Legiscan. You can look on anything in your local area. Kratom ban. You can type in Google Kratom bans or whatever it might be. But staying up to date with like the American Kratom Association or even the Global Kratom Coalition or any of them that, are putting out a lot of information about local bans is what you want to do because they will be updating daily.
Okay. Well, that is really great advice. Thank you so much. And also check out Christopher's Organic Botanicals website because there's so much information on there. I mean, it truly is a great treasure trove of information. So check it out.
Oh, yeah. And then if people want the science, our friends Dan and Sarah Pitta, they own a company up. Well, now they're moving to, I think, Florida or something now. But anyway, Mitrospect, they created a website called kratomindex.com. It's all science. about Kratom, all the published science in one place.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So that's a great asset if you want to learn about Kratom science or understand the most recent science coming out. You go to kratomindex.com, and it's great information. I can't applaud them enough for what they do.
Oh,
so
that's wonderful. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me yet again today.
Yep.
I appreciate everything that you do.
Yep. I'm working hard and trying to keep here for as many more decades as God gives me.
I appreciate that. All right. Till next time. Bye.
Christopher's Organic Botanicals, a family-owned and operated South Jersey business for all your Kratom needs. We share the love, passion, and integrity of Kratom and traditional herbal tea products. Shop small and support local businesses. We've got a wide variety of products you can check out on our website. Shop tea, powdered capsules, crushed leaves, and extracts from the comfort of your keyboard. Simply visit Christopher'sOrganicBotanicals.com. The testimonials speak for themselves.
For me personally, I use it for energy in the morning. I was hit by a car as a little kid, so I was always looking for something to get me moving a little bit better. This helps basically lubricate the joints, helps me get things going, and makes me feel a lot better.
American Kratom Association audited and approved CGMP vendor. Like us on social media and call us with any questions, 609-202-6880.
Getting Personal with Plant Medicine is brought to you by Christopher's Organic Botanicals and is produced by Your Highness Media.